Bonjour everyone and welcome to the 7th round of the 2011 Grand Prix 4 Offline Championship. We're here for the 7th round of the season, the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal, also known as the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And I am your commentator, George Roke, and we are here for the 7th round of the season after the last race where we had the least amount of cars finishing a Grand Prix. Only 9 cars finishing the race, with Evan Byrne taking a very comfortable victory after many of his rivals, such as Josie Willows, known to be his main rival, crashed out the race after a collision with George Roke. So first of all, let's go over the race rating, which is given a 7 out of 10, which is not really a surprise considering there was so much action happening, so much chaos, well, more chaos than action really. And the Monaco driver today was given to Robert Ionescu, who took his best ever finish in the GP4 Offline Championship by taking 4th place after an inspired gamble to go on the intermediate tyres earlier than his rivals in front of him, which got him up into the 4th place. This race, obviously, in real life 2011, was the longest ever F1 race held at nearly 5 hours, I believe. So will it be like the same this year? I don't think so. But anyway, the grid for this race. Evan Byrne is on pole position once again, with Waze Kuba in 2nd place. It has only been McLaren and Ferrari wins so far this season. Byrne taking 4 out of the 6, so can he make it 5 out of 7? 3rd place is Florian Volker, followed by James Williams and all Red Bull Row 2. With Alex Southgate, an impressive qualifying for him in 5th, with Miklos Gau down in 6th. Joseph Willows, not the qualifying he particularly would have wanted, in 7th place, with Felix Sonntag for Mercedes in 8th place. He'll want to get over what has been not a fantastic start to the season for him, particularly crashing out at Monaco, a track which he is known to personally dislike. Relo Moichin is in 9th place, followed by Armar Carr in 10th. A good qualifying there from Carr, not bad from Moichin either. On row 6 is Viggo Holst and Jamie Mackenzie. Mackenzie's had a pretty awful start to the season, it has to be said. Just hasn't had any luck whatsoever. Nothing seems to have really gone his way. In 13th place is George Roke, complete opposite of Jay. He's had a lot better luck than he had certainly last season. Lucas Levi for Sauber, replacing Ren Jans, not had a good start to his OC career so far in 14th. Sam Tolson 15th, followed by Robert Ionescu in 16th. Rookie Park Brazane in 17th, followed by Adam Wolf in 18th. 19th place is Michael Mocho, followed by Xavier Quinlan in 20th. And on the final row of the grid, we have Roman Quagg, followed by Sean Grant for Virgin. So that is the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. So the question is, will there be any rain? Will it be wet conditions? Will it be a wet, dry race? Will it be wet? Will it be dry? We will see right about now. And you can see the weather, it will be completely dry, no rain throughout the whole race. So unlike the real life race in 2011, it will be dry and not, unfortunately, start in wet conditions. So the race will be considerably shorter than real life. So let's go on to the grid. So here we are on the grid. We are also using the current pit exit, not the old pit exit like last year. Evan Byrne on pole position. It's a very short run up to turn 1. The 5 lights are now coming on. And the lights are out, and away we go with the 10th round here at Gilles Villeneuve. And Evan Byrne makes a fantastic start. One of the Red Bulls has not made a great start. I believe that might have been James Willows. But Evan Byrne takes the lead into turn 1 as they go through turn 2. Waze Cooper down in 2nd place. Is everyone going to make it through the first couple of corners unscathed? It seems they have at the front anyway. Evan Byrne made a fantastic start. Waze Cooper made a good start in 2nd. Will there be any contest? We come through the first of the 4 chicanes on this track. They come around the left to the right, now into the 2nd chicane. James Willows in 3rd, Volker in 4th, Southgate 5th, Sonntag 6th, Gal 7th, Josie Willows down to 8th, and Moichin 9th, and Jay Mackenzie in 10th. As they go through all the rest of the field, Levi's dropped down 1 place. Look, and there's a few cars behind. There has been a collision on the first lap, and Michael Mocho has been involved once again, and it looks like with his own teammate. Well, the looks of it. So let's have a look at the start. And here is Roman Quagg. He didn't make a particularly good start, the Frenchman. He dropped down to last. And was it Quagg? And yes, it was. And Roman Quagg has just run into the back of his teammate, Michael Mocho. I can't quite believe that has happened. And for Michael Mocho, his bad luck continues in this series. He's just not been able to get away with it. But for both Lotuses, they've completely screwed themselves up a chance of getting absolutely anything from this race. So how unfortunate there. They're both going to have to go into pits as well. So that'll be interesting to see who will have to stack up. As Southgate tries to make a move on Volker coming into the hairpin as they head towards the Wall of Champions. And as they come through, it's something in 6th place. As Josie Willows has moved back ahead of Miklos Gau for 7th as they come through the hairpin. So far, everyone else has managed to avoid contact so far, but both Lotus drivers, unfortunately, taking themselves out of the race. Well, they're still in the race, but as Southgate trying to make another move into the chicane, is he going to make it stick? No, he doesn't, but he's going to compromise his run as they go past the Wall of Champions. And now Felix Sonntag is going to have a fantastic run, and Josie Willows might get a slipstream as well as they come in the end of lap 2. There's a yellow flag out at the first chicane. There's something happened. There's a car gone off, and Robert Ionescu has spun, and Ionescu he's got back going. But has he been involved in a? He's been involved in a crash. So Ionescu, who's going on the inside of Lucas Levi, and Levi. Oh, he seemed to come across him there. Levi coming in the chicane. He's fortunate that everyone else managed to avoid him, but that has ruined Robert Ionescu's race. We've only been 2 laps, and Robert Ionescu has been involved, or Levi, I should say, who has been involved in a number of incidents. I think he's been involved in nearly in every race so far since he joined the series, and Robert Ionescu is going to be absolutely fuming because he's mainly been involved in incidents with him as well. Now Joseph Willis is right behind Felix Sontag. So now here on lap 2 is here is Roland Motion trying to make a move past Miklos Gal coming into the chicane, and he makes it stick, and Gal's dropped down to 9. He's having a bad race so far, but and he's only got 17 laps, so he's not exactly stacked up with fuel. So the car's not clear. There's a car from the background, that's a Sauber, and that I believe is Ricky Farquharson, who just in the background went off into the wall of champions, and the GP2 champion has crashed out. And that was a big crash there. You could just see his car go off into the background. He was trying to overtake the Virgin there, Xavier Quinlan, and he just bounced off over that high curb, and it just threw him off the track. As you see, who are on board with Xavier Quinlan, and Farquharson was on the inside, and he just went way too fast. He got high air there. He was never really going to stop the car there, Farquharson, and unfortunately that is him out of the race on lap 3. It's been a decent start to the season for Farquharson, but this will be a one race he will want to forget as soon as possible. So Quinlan still keeps going as normal as there's Jamie McKenzie in 12th. Let's have a look at the see on the right hand side. Not many places moved. Aside from Gallows dropped down to 4 places. Sontag got 2. But the rest of them nearly staying as they are, as Krog obviously rejoined, but he's already a lap down because he's had to stack behind his teammate Michael Mocho. It's been a disaster for Lotus. This will be a race they want to forget out quickly. And Michael Mocho, as I just say, that commentator's curse right there. Michael Mocho is already out, and what an absolute disaster. And what happened there? Did he hit some debris? And that was quite weird. The wing just suddenly came off, and he must have hit some debris from somewhere, unless he went over the curb. And I think unless the wing just obviously cracked, I think he went into the wall, and I think it obviously broke. It unfortunately broke the suspension of the car, the wing I should say, got stuck under the car, and it just dragged him straight to the wall. And the wing just collapsed right under him there. That was very unfortunate there for Mocho. But once again, he wasn't at fault for this one, but for Lotus, it's been an absolute disaster. They're really going to have a word after this race. And for Robert Ionescu, it's also been another disaster for him. And Robert Ionescu, after his fantastic race in Monaco last time out, he is out of the race. He's had a crash, and he's gone into the back. I believe it was that of Sam Thompson, who's at the exact same place. And I don't really know who was to blame there for that one. I think Ionescu didn't really seem to slow down enough. Maybe he didn't expect Thompson was maybe breaking into the chicane, but I think you probably have to say that maybe just a bit of misjudgment on Ionescu's pass, Ionescu's part, I should say, as Thompson goes over the chicane. Fortunately, doesn't go over the curve, so he doesn't lose too much time. He keeps the position. But for Robert Ionescu, what a disaster of a weekend it's been so far. A complete opposite of Monaco. He just hasn't had any luck in the offline championship last season. Monaco is one of the few times he's actually got away out of any trouble, and you can see he just goes over the curve once again. He's lucky that he didn't tip the car over, but he goes into the wall there. So Robert Ionescu out this race. He'll be on the first flight from Montreal to Spain for the next Grand Prix. As now here we are on board with Relo Moitin, who's right behind Felix Sontag, as he's coming down the straight before the final chicane past the World Champions. And Moitin's on the inside. He's going to make the move to 7th place. He's going to make it stick before the chicane, and yes, he does. Makes the move stick, and Sontag goes a bit wide, and now Carl's going to be right behind him. He's got a poor run out of the chicane there, Sontag, and Carl's just going to absolutely take that place with ease, unless Sontag can hold it around the outside, coming through turn 1, and then keep it on the inside for turn 2. But he's not going to be able to do that, as Carl makes the move stick for 8th place. And there's a car off, and there's a Ferrari off right in the middle of the track, and that's Joseph Willers out of the race. That's going to be fantastic news for Evan Byrne once again. So Joseph Willers, who's running in 6th place, he was kind of on a race of his own, and coming through the first chicane, he just goes wide and just has a bit of understeer and goes into the wall. That is a big crash there, and unfortunately the cars behind him managed to avoid him. But unfortunately, Roland Moitin has not managed to avoid the wheel of Joseph Willers, and he's lost his front wing, and that is very, very unfortunate there for the Hungarian driver. He's going to have to go into the pits for that. As we have a look again at Joseph Willers' instance, so he's coming through turn 2. He seemed to be coming okay, but he seemed to get a bit of understeer coming through the first chicane, coming through 3 and then 4. So he seemed to be okay there, but then coming through 4, he just went a bit wide, and unfortunately he just went straight into the wall. That's a big crash. He loses the right-hand side of the car. Both the wheels have come off, and a lot of debris, so that is going to be a hefty amount of damage that the Ferrari team will have to fix, as Moitin manages to come through, just manages to avoid his car in time, but unfortunately can't avoid the wheel there. And Moitin has to go into the pits, and that's very unfortunate. But I think he actually was going to pit actually soon anyway, so it may not have actually affected Moitin as bad as it looks. He'd only had 4 more laps left of fuel, so it looks like the 3-stop strategy 4-4 India may still be on here. So it might not be too bad, but I think Moyton probably would have wanted to have pitted maybe this early and in that way. And now here's Alex Southgate, who still can't get past Volker. He's been stuck behind him for 13 laps now, and he still hasn't got past. She's surely going to now make a move coming down the back straight before the final chicane. He's got the slipstream as they go into 7th gear. He's going up past 312 kilometers an hour, up to 320, so over 200 miles an hour. He's going down the straight, Southgate, and he's surely made the move stick now. And yes, he has, and he moves up to 4th place, and Volker spins, and Volker goes over the curve, and Volker manages to recover it very quickly, but that's lost him some vital time. But at least he is still in the race. But Evan Byrne, this is all working out fantastically well for him once again. Everything seems to be going in his favour this season. He must be the luckiest Irishman in the world right now. Probably the luck that McGregor will need to have for the fight against Mayweather tonight. We will see as Volker manages to rejoin the track. As Amar Khan comes to the chicane, he's got actually ahead of Felix. I don't know if we actually ever saw that, but Wolfu's right behind Mackenzie as there's Quag stuck down in last and already having to be lapped by the second tier of drivers at the back. Not the race he would have wanted, but you see Evan Byrne's only got a 1.3 second lead over Kuba, who's stuck behind him. These two have got away from the rest all race, and Byrne's got 8 laps left to fuel, so he looks like probably might be going for a 2-stop. I think it probably would be a bit late for a 3-stop as Jay McKenzie goes wide coming around turn 2, and he manages to avoid the wall where he gets back going, and Levi just manages to avoid him as he goes past. For Jay McKenzie, unfortunately this race, he's not had a particularly brilliant weekend, and unfortunately coming around turn 2 just went a bit of understeer, locked up, and he just managed to fortunately slow it down enough to avoid the wall. But for Mackenzie this season, it has been horrendous, as now Waze Cooper comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. Let's see if he will try an undercut on Evan Byrne to try and take the lead. Waze Cooper, who has not won so far this season, he should have won probably. People say that he probably should have won in Spain had he not gone off the track, although people blame Roland Moiti for trying to overtake him. But that was unfortunate for Waze Cooper. It's still, so far, only been Ferrari and McLaren that have won races so far this season. Red Bull have yet to win a race so far this season, which has surprised many of the drivers in the paddock. There's Roland Moitin, you can see on the screen, going past the version of Sean Grant there. Here is Alex Southgate, who is set to go into the pits, and now James Willows comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. 2.9 litres of fuel left. He comes in for his first stop. Let's see where he will come out later in the race. Let's see who comes out after the pits. After he pits, and now Alex Southgate actually comes in as well. So Southgate will try and attempt to make a quick stop to maybe catch up to James Willows as he goes past. So let's see how long they fill. So 23 laps for James and 25 laps for Southgate. So he's going a couple of laps later than James Willows, but Southgate has to wait for Amar Khan to come into the pits. That's not what he would have wanted, and so that will affect Southgate. He'll need to close up quite a few seconds to Willows if he has any chance of beating him at the end of the race. But we will see Amar Khan coming into the pits for the first time. He's fueled for 25 laps. It looks like probably a 2-stop for him. A 10.1 second stop for the Toro Rosso pit crew car, who unfortunately didn't have a particularly good season last season, but Toro Rosso didn't overall really. And there's been a car over turn 1, and Southgate spun, he's had a collision with Jay, and Mackenzie's car is still on the track. Southgate's in a really, really awkward position right there, and he's been hit, I think that was by Amar Khan, was it? I think it was, and as you know, I don't think it was Amar Khan. He's got around it, so who's the car that's actually got involved? Big crash, when it might have been Amar Khan. I'm not sure, we need to have a look at the replay for sure. I thought it was Amar Khan originally, but collision coming out the pits, which is known to have dogged the series so far this weekend. A lot of collisions coming out of that pit exit at turn 2, as George Rope comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any replays there, but we skipped to George Rope, who's in the pits for his first stop. Only 17 laps, so probably still a 2-stop race. It looks like everyone is going on a 2-stop, although we don't know what Moitin's doing, as he went in quite early due to losing his rear wing in the collision with Joseph Willows. We will see as George Rook comes up the pit, and 8.5 second stops are quite quick there for Renault, as Evan Byrne, I believe, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, is also in the pits as well. So Evan Byrne is going to come into the pits for his first stop of the race. So let's see how quick his stop will be. So will he come out ahead of Waze Cooper will be the interesting thing. Let's have a look. So Evan Byrne looks like he's already changed his tyres. It's a 9.7 second stop. So Cooper, I imagine, is just coming down the back straight right now. He'll probably be coming into the chicane in probably a few seconds' time. Let's see, does he still come out ahead of Cooper will be the interesting thing. And it looks like at the moment he will, although Volker's still out on track, so it looks like that he will come out ahead of him. But as Evan Byrne comes around out of the pits, and Volker, who's in second place, Volker comes into the pit, they collided, they've collided coming into the pit, out of the pit exit, and Evan Byrne and Volker have taken themselves out of the race, and that has surely just gifted the victory to Waze Kuba, and that is unbelievable seeing the two title rivals, Florian Volker, who is going longer on his strategy, and Evan Byrne, who just made his stop. Evan Byrne was looking comfortable ahead of Kuba, and he was going to come out ahead of him, but Volker, as they came round turn 2, and oh my goodness me, and they just came out right at the same time. Absolutely nowhere for either car to go. Unbelievable scenes here in Montreal. The crowd cannot believe it as the cars get pushed away. And Waze Cooper has now inherited this lead of the race. And unless he has any problems or has any collision with lap traffic, he should win this race. But we will see as Viggo Holst is in the pits. Felix Sonntag's in the pits as well. Wow, dramatic scenes here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Not much action has actually happened so far, to be honest. It's not been a particularly exciting race, which you think is a bit surprising with Montreal, considering the rate, the number, considering all the action we have in real life and the OC as well. Adam Wolf comes in for his next stop, so he will pit one more time. It will pit obviously about 10 laps to the end, so it's going to be quite late for Wolf. So let's see how he does. As Xavier Quinlan comes into the pits for, I believe, the first time. Let's see how quick this stop will be. Will he? I imagine he'll probably do one more stop, and yes, he will. He'll have to stop one more time before the end. So he's gone quite long on this set of tyres. He's done quite well so far, Xavier Quinlan. You could say he's probably maybe shaded his new teammate as well, Grant. So it's been a good season for the Virgins. He could have possibly had points in Monaco had he not crashed at the first corner in drying conditions, but I suppose that was unlucky on his part. The conditions were quite difficult. Relo Mojin comes in. He'll, I think, have to make another stop before the end. Actually, yes, he will. I was just checking him ahead there, but he'll have to make a stop around about 10 laps to the end, or probably less than that, fuel-wise. But he comes out the pits, so he will come out in 7th place. Now, Waze Kuba comes in for another stop. It comes in for his next stop of the race, a 10.3 second stop. So that's his second stop of the race. So he'll come in for a third in 23 laps time. So that will be around about lap 57, but probably maybe around about lap 54, 55, I think. He'll pit for the last time. So let's see where he comes out on track. He'll come out in 2nd place. Will he avoid any collisions at the pit exit? And it looks like he will. And there's a car that's stationary there right in the middle of the track, and that's Lucas Levi. Right at the pit exit. That could have been another collision there, but Levi was just for some reason stationary. I thought he had a problem there. So what happened here? So he had a collision with George Roque coming out of the pits. So once again, that pit exit has played its part, and this time it was Roque and Levi, and Roque was very lucky to get away with any damage there. But Levi also got hit by the Williams there of Sam Thompson. And James Willis, who was right behind that, he'll get held up a bit like that. That won't help him in regards to up front, but wow, so Lucas Levi once again involved in another collision, but that pit exit once again getting involved in this race, and that was going to be very interesting come the end of it, as now James Willard comes into the pits for his second stop of the Grand Prix. He'll have to pit obviously once before the end, but for George Roque that won't do him well come the end of the race, and Levi, well, if he did have any chance of points at all, they have gone out of the window. They have gone as James Willard comes out of the pit, as set to come out of the pits. See where he will come out, 4.7 second stop, so a very quick stop there. So let's see where he will come out. Will he come out ahead of the Sauber? He won't have any collisions. I think he'll make it just about ahead, I think, and I believe, and yes, he does. As Sean Grant comes in for another stop, he'll go till the end of the race, as he'll be fueled to lap 75 essentially, and obviously we only have 70 laps, so he'll go to the end of the race. So Grant's had quite a quiet race, I'd say. I mean, haven't really seen much of him so far this race, but I suppose it's partly because we have been focusing on the front more than the back, like you should do in normal motorsport. But a 12.9 second stop for Sean Grant there as he comes out the pits. As now Miklos Gal comes in for his final stop of the race. Let's see where he will come out on track. 11.6 second stop, quite a long stop there from the McLaren pit crew, and see where he'll come out on track. I believe he'll come out around about the podium places, I think. I believe, as obviously Florian Volker retired after that collision with Evan Byrne. It's the first time actually Evan Byrne has retired from this season. For Volker, it means, aside from the races that he's finished on the podium, He's aside from the races he finished on the podium, which is he's finished 5 races on the podium, and the other 2 races have been retirements. As now Amar Khan trying to make a move coming into the chicane. He's right behind Lucas Levi. As we're on lap 46, we're over the halfway mark of this race, and Carr's surely going to make a move coming into turn 1. He's got a much faster car than Levi does, although it's probably the guy behind the wheel that means that the car's not particularly doing as well as it is right now. As Carr makes a move past for 11th place. As now here is George Roke, who's making a move past Sam Thompson. As he comes into the chicane, it's going to be side by side. Is Roke going to make the move stick into the chicane? And yes, he does. He makes the move stick fairly comfortably in the end. And now Thompson's going to have Xavier Quinlan right behind him. And Xavier Quinlan's going to try and make a move on Thompson coming into turn 1. It's going to be side by side. Is Quinlan going to make it stick? He's got James Willows behind him. Not what James Willows needs. He'll need to wave that blue flag, as now he's holding them up as they come through turn 2, and surely Quinlan's going to have to let James through, and he does so right there. Roke finally makes it past, and now obviously Thompson will have to let Willows through, which he does. Now it's going to lay back into the clutches of Xavier Quinlan, who actually comes in to the pits for his final stop of the Grand Prix. 23 laps of fuels, as he'll be fueled right to the end of the race. as Quinlan, let's see how quick the stop will be. A 9.8 second stop, as there's a car, that is Sam Thompson, just coming out ahead as well. So he'll come out in 12th place, and Xavier Quinlan comes out in 13th. They'll come up behind, so we'll see if there'll be a battle there at the end of the race to see who wins that battle. But unfortunately, it'll be outside the points, so it won't really matter in the end. But they come out the pits, Quag in 14th place. So now Felix Sontag comes in for his final stop of the race. And let's see where he will come out. So we haven't actually really seen much of Sontag this race. He's kind of just stayed out of trouble, really. I mean, not anything special, but he's not anything bad, really. I mean, he's drove a pretty decent race, so I guess I'll be happy about it come the end, as Sontag comes out of the pits in 6th place at the moment, but I believe cars in front of him will have to make a stop, as Wade Cooper now comes in for his final stop of the race. We'll see if he does get out ahead of James Willows. I believe he will. Unless Willows has yet to make his last stop of the race, but Willows who got held up by that battle between Quinlan and Sam Thompson. So we will see as Wade Cooper comes out of the pits, an 8.8 second stop, and it looks like at this moment in time that Wade Cooper does come out in front. As you can see, he sets the fastest lap of the race. Now here is James Willows coming in for his final stop, so I believe he's probably just behind, but Wade Cooper is set to take a victory here unless he has any problems before the end, and James Willows looks like he'll take a 2nd place. That'll be something that he'll be pretty happy about, but he'll still be unhappy that Red Bull so far have yet to win a race. As now George Roke comes into the pits for the final time, an 8.9 second stop. Roke's had an okay race, but obviously got involved with Lucas Levi, which probably maybe affected if he got a higher place in the order later on. I think he'll probably be just inside the points, but it could have been so much better had he not had that collision with Levi. But I suppose he'll take points considering how bad his luck was last season, as he comes out actually just ahead of Levi. That would not be what Roke wanted, getting taken out by Levi twice in the same race. I mean, Robert Ionescu has been known to already been very, very annoyed about that, or very vocal about Levi's driving. As Adam Wolf now comes into the pits for the final time. And let's see where he will come out on track. Wolf's had a pretty decent race. It looks like he might score some points for Williams at this moment in time. So let's see where he will come out on track. He's in 7th place at the moment. Will he come out ahead of Amar Khan will be the big question. And the answer is, I believe he will, and he does. As now Amar Khan comes actually in for his final stop of the race. So now on lap 58, the action has been actually not particularly good so far this race. Not as good as we expected, considering it is the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal, as George Roke goes past on the pit straight as Roland Moitian makes his final stop of the race. Let's see how quick this stop will be from the Force India crew. It's a 7.6 second stop. And where will he come out on track will be the interesting one. And he will come out, looks like, behind Felix Sontag. So Sontag's set to take a P4. And Moitian is set to come out in P5. If he does come out ahead of Bigger Host, and which I believe he does, as now Amar Khan is battling with Sean Grant for 10th place. We haven't seen Grant all race, really. And I believe that Grant is he's beating his teammate at the moment. He's doing very well. We thought Quinlan would maybe beat him, but Quinlan's down in 13th. But now Khan is surely going to make the move for P10, coming down the pit straight before the final chicane, and he does make it stick. He actually gets in front even before the final chicane, so it doesn't lose any time. But Grant, sorry, I should say, could try and get back at him coming in the first corner, but I don't believe he has. As now, and Roller Mojins hit the wall. Wojciech was running so well in 5th place. He has hit the wall coming out of the hairpin, and that is Roller Mojin out of the race. It would have been a fantastic race. It would have been a top 5, and unfortunately, he has just thrown that away. How unfortunate that is for the Hungarian driver. He'll be absolutely gutted for that. You see, he was running so well in 5th place, just running a race on his own, and no one really near him. But as he came into the hairpin, he had a bit of understeer. He went a little bit offline, and he just couldn't steer, and he just went into the wall. And very, very disappointed for Ronan Bush, and he'll be absolutely kicking himself for that. It will not be happy with that at all. But Ronan Moisin, unfortunately, out of the race with just 10 laps to go. He'll be very, very disappointed. He'll have wanted to have got some more points on the board for Force India. They've had a good season so far, Force India, both Holst and Moisin, but unfortunately a top 5 for them today goes begging as his car gets pushed away, and Viggo Holst actually pits for the final time. So now on to the last leg of the race, and here is your current race leader, Waze Kuba. He inherited the lead after Evan Byrne and Florian Volker had that collision coming out of the pit, and he has never really looked back. James Willis hasn't really been anywhere close to him, and look at the gap, as you can see on the bottom of your screen. Over 30 seconds it is. Waze Kuba has dominated this race. He'll have wanted to have won a race. He was really hoping to win a race this season. He wanted to get over that race in Spain where he was winning it so comfortably, and he threw it away after that. It was instant with Relo Mojin, but it was a race that he was bitterly disappointed to lose. But he will avenge this as he comes around the hairpin, and he's set to lap the Williams of Sam Thompson as he comes down the pit straight, as he comes down the back straight, I should say, for the final time. Where Scuba, he would have been very, very annoyed to have lost the Spain race, but he's inherited the lead from Evan Byrne, and he has never looked back. He's kept it cool, calm, and collected, and Wade Scuba comes round the final chicane, and he comes onto the front straight, and Wade Scuba takes his first victory of the season for Ferrari, meaning that it is only Ferrari and McLaren that have won races so far in the OC after 7 races, as the rest of the cars come over the line, and Adam Wolff takes a very, very impressive P5, so well done to him, as Viggo Holst is set to come home in 6th place. It's been a good race so far for Holst, and for Adam Wolff, we didn't really see much of him, but he managed to somehow sneak his way up into the top 5, so congratulations to him, although that was probably partly down to Roland Moitin crashing at the hairpin, as James Willis is set to come home for P2 as he comes across the line over 30 seconds behind, and Roman Quark, who unfortunately hit the back of his teammate Michael Mocho. There'll be words in the Lotus garage after this race, and Miklos Gau is set to take a podium for McLaren. This is a much better race from his point of view as he comes across the line in 3rd place. George Roque set to come home in 7th place. At least he gets some points after that collision with Levi, and Amar Kar is set to take home the final points spot in 8th place, so well done to him. He comes across the line in 8th. Santos obviously came across the line in 9th. Felix Sontag will take an impressive P4, a better race by his point of view, as there is your winner, Waze Cubers. We'll have a look at the final race result, with Waze Cuber winning from James Willis in 2nd, Milos Gal 3rd, and Felix Sontag 4th, with the following drivers all a lap down: Adam Wolff, Viggo Holst, George Roque, Amar Kar, Sam Thompson, Sean Grant, Xavier Quinlan, Lucas Levi, and Roman Quark, with they're obviously more than 2 laps down, a few of those drivers, but the following drivers retiring: Roland Moitin, Florian Volker, Evan Byrne, Jamie Kittis, Alex Southgate, Joseph Willis, Robert Inescu, Michael Mocho, and Rivki Barkrasane. So the fastest lap of the race was set by Waze Kuba, 1:13.563 with Evan Byrne 2nd, Joseph Willis 3rd with James 4th, Moitin 5th, Southgate 6th, Gal 7th, Carr 8th, Volker 9th, Wolff 10th, Sontag 11th, Holst 12th, Roque 13th, Levi 14th, Inescu 15th, McKenzie 16th, Thompson 17th, Quinlan 18th, Grant 19th, Quark 20th, Barkrasane 21st, and of course Mocho, who retired early on after his wing broke on his car. But here are the point standings. So Evan Byrne still has a 4-point lead over Waze Cooper in 2nd, who has an 8-point gap over Volker in 3rd, with Joseph Willis on 25 points, the same as his brother James in 5th. Gal 4 points behind with 21, Holst 7th with 19, George Roque 8th with 14, Southgate 9th with 11, Sontag 10th with 9, Moisin 11th with 7, Carr with 7 as well, Inescu and Rengians with 5, Wolff with 4, Quark with 3, Barkrasane with 2, and the following drivers with 0 points so far this season: Jamie McKenzie, Sam Thompson, Sean Grant, Michael Mocho, Xavier Quinlan, and Lucas Levi. In the constructors' standings, McLaren and Ferrari are tied at the moment on 65 points, with Red Bull just 8 points behind with 57. Force India 31 points behind on 26, Mercedes 5th with 20, Renault 6th 14, Taurus 7th with 12, Sauber 8th with 7, Williams 9th with 4, Lotus 10th with 3, and Virgin on 0 points in 11th place. Well, that has been the Canadian Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's just a shame that the race wasn't as good as it usually is in the OC. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. Don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We will see you for the next round of the season, round 8, the European Grand Prix at the Valencia Street Circuit. Thanks for watching, and we will see you there. Adios!